Okay, we are talking hard. Yeah, I wanted to do this in a little bit more daylight. Hopefully, nobody knocks at the door or anything like that. It's possible, so we shall see. But yes, I just watched a little bit of my last video to pick up and like refresh my memory as to where I was, and it seemed like I was wrapping up the last little tail end of the pre-punch the clock time frame. So yeah, we were doing pre-production, and I remember I was living at Rose Glen in Stoughton, and or I was living in Bennett Drive or something like that. I can't remember, but I remember it was a walk to the Outpost to go record there, and that was just so cool because this legendary recording studio that was in my backyard, basically, where the Dropkick Murphys and Blood for Blood and Darkbuster and just so many bands had done, Slapshot had done albums that I loved there, and I was about to set foot into this studio. Like I felt like I was like walking on holy ground. Like I really felt something when I was in there, and like knowing that I was in the room that Mike McColgan tracked vocals for Do or Die. Like I was in that studio, like doing that same thing, like less than a decade later, I think. It was just like surreal to me. And we actually used the same kick drum that they use on that record. The actual physical kick drum that is used on Do or Die is used on Punch the Clock. But anyway, so I walked to practice. Practice. That's like what it felt like, because we set up. It was like we practiced at a studio, instrumentally. I was on rhythm guitar. Rob was on lead guitar. Mike Asatli was on drums, and Connor was on bass. And it was just 4-piece live recording. Jim Siegel, the producer, engineer, the guy who does all the records that everybody loves from the Outpost, he told me that the Darkbuster record had been done live, essentially, and I was like their basic tracks, and I was like, really? And that's what sold me on the idea of doing Punch the Clock live, because I was very doubtful. I don't like having to do things live. Yeah, so, and it was my first thing that I was doing, but I knew that if I learned my parts and everybody played tight, it could sound okay in this awesome studio. So we like loaded our stuff in. I don't even know what I used because I don't pay attention to equipment. I don't know anything about equipment at all. It's just not interesting to me. But I remember we had like a guitar cab in like a side room closed off that someone was recording from. I don't even know. And I don't even remember. Like we were just standing all around each other with headphones on, like so we could like feed off of each other's energy, and then we just played like it was a practice, except like we really tried to play very tight and in time, and he had us tune up every single time we stopped playing. Like even if it was like a false start or anything like that, it was tune up or tune nice or whatever he said. And I remember just playing those 8 tracks like so many times before that, or whatever, just rehearsing it in the 2 to 6 weeks. I don't even remember how long I had to learn these rhythm guitar parts. Excuse me. But I do remember being very nervous and flubbing a few parts. In ironically, or coincidentally, I can never figure out the difference between those. But yeah, it's the song "Talk Hard," which I do the most. I basically fuck up the most in on guitar. It's just like down picking. Like I was just behind the band and kind of just stapled it and sewed it to sound okay, and it sounds fine, I guess. It's just I can hear that I fucked up, and I always wanted to prove myself as a guitarist in the studio at least. Since then, because that was a disaster. The left pan in the speaker is me on rhythm guitar. If you ever want to pay attention to that, like, because they're heavily panned compared to a lot of recordings I've noticed lately. I don't know. I don't mean that as any kind of statement on your production or anything, Jim, or mixing. Or I just noticed that I'm like in one speaker and he's in another primarily, it seems. And yeah, so I've listened to just my playing and stuff, and I actually like the playing on Keep the Change because there's some like little rhythmic things that happen that I felt I played very tight. And Connor's bass playing is phenomenal across the board on that record. It's insane. He's the best. He's the shining star of that recording, like hands down. It's his bass playing. It's like, to me, that's, oh, you want to hear Connor be good at bass and me be like an untamed horse just going for it? Yeah, listen to Punch the Clock. But yeah, we recorded that live, which is, not with vocals live, but we recorded it live. We played every song 3 times. That's what it was. We did every song 3 times for 2 days or something. I think it was. Yeah, 2 days of that. And then, I think it was 1 day of that and then another day of overdubs, or a little of that and overdubs or something. I don't know. But I do remember that the we played it 3 times, and then we would basically just Frankenstein all the takes together, and if you fucked up, if the second part of the song was better in this version, you put it there, how that goes. But it's all live. It's like different live takes spliced together. So that was really like interesting to do, to like in hindsight, actually, just knowing that I did a record live. It's like a live performance recorded in like a major studio. And then day 3 was vocals, which I spent about 7 or 8 hours doing. I really just had my notepad and I was just going for it. I knew this was my day, and I wanted to just fucking belt out my notes and really prove to the world I had this big voice. And in hindsight, it's just, to me, sounds like I'm trying way too hard, but that's my perspective or perception of my own whatever. But I have what do I have? I have this original CD, the Rock Vegas Records version. Yeah. I remember when we got those. Actually, I remember we were recording the CD, and I said to the band, I was like, "Hey guys, I know we're only supposed to record 7 songs, but we know Misfits Where Eagles Dare like so good that like I knew we were like ahead in time or something like that. Like I figured out a way where it wasn't going to cost any more money because of how quick we could bang it out and how much ahead of the budget we were. I like did it in my head, or I don't know, it was something like that. Or I was just being a little bastard trying to get more as much as I could. Probably the latter. Um, but you know, it exists now because of that bratty move of mine. But that Where Eagles Dare cover was the result of me just going, hey guys, like, let's just do Where Eagles Dare. Let's just tell Jim that that's one of the songs that we are gonna record. And we all just rolled with it and did it in one take, I think, because we really knew that song extremely well because it's so easy. And we really didn't want to like start in on a new song that we weren't supposed to be recording and then take forever doing it. We wanted to get it the fuck out of the way. And I remember the label guy was a little upset at first. He's like, "What's this extra song doing here?" Like, and I think I just talked my way out of it or something. I don't know, but yeah, obviously that's like on YouTube and the Misfits tribute CD and everything like that. But that was just like fun. I just wanted to hear I was like, oh, I'm in the Outpost. I bet I could weasel a Misfits cover out of this. I don't know, but I'm glad I did it. I'm sorry if that was a bummer for anybody because of that, but. The Foo Fighters cover is what took us the longest, though, because it was just none of us really knew that song all that well, and I just had this vision of this like epic, like layered, textured cover of this song, and I just feel like I've had the wrong band and the wrong budget and the wrong It was just the wrong everything for that song. I could easily do it now the way I want to, but I don't have much interest in that anymore. I'm not 21, and Everlong isn't like, it's it's a timeless song. And that means it's forever. But it doesn't. The excitement has worn off a bit, So I'm not gonna be that enthusiastic about recording it like again, if I were to do that. So, I don't like putting effort into things I'm not enthusiastic about. I'm really starting to realize. So, that's why I'm making these videos, because I want to be doing something like all the time, and I cannot stop thinking about my band and energy and everything about it, and it's everything to me. So, I'm just gonna blab to you guys, and girls and everybody else, and yeah. But we recorded Punch the Clock from September 15th to September 18th, 2006, and I think the 4th day was mixing, and then I didn't hear it. I remember the label kept it from me because they didn't want it to leak, and I didn't hear it for like a while. And I don't think we actually got copies of it. No, we got copies of it, I think, before the end of the new year, before the end of 2006. But I don't think they were available at shows until 2007 or something. Or maybe it was early 2007 that we even got them. But we recorded it in 2006. And I think it technically came out in 2007 because we played some show with, I think, Crime in Stereo in Cambridge. And we had Punch the Clock CDs on us. And I remember we were about to go out on a tour, I think this is the same show. I get stuff so fucking mixed up. Wish Connor was here sometimes. You should join me on this sometime, Connor, when you're around. You were there for like the whole incarnation of it, and you'll probably correct me on a lot too. I don't know why I'm saying this at you. I've texted you about doing this. Okay. But yeah, let's do it. And then we'll do like Punch the Clock Part 2 or whatever. yeah, these orange cassettes that Down for Anything Records put out. Great label. Down for Anything Records.com or downforanything.com, I can't remember. But you can get the tapes there, I think, still. Yeah, and then we recorded Punch the Clock. But like I said in the previous video, like, we had already got rid of that songwriter, the musician that was writing the guitar parts at least. And everyone was questioning if we could keep doing this. If, like, oh, you sure you could keep going? And I'm like, I started to think to myself, I'm like, well, I have Joe. He has a perfect understanding of music, like as far as I'm concerned. And I was like, I'm thinking the band isn't even what I want it to be. Like, when I did the record at the Outpost, when I recorded Punch the Clock, that wasn't my vision of what I wanted my band to be. That, like, was a quick little thrill of like, ooh, look what I sound like when I'm recorded. Okay, I gotta write some better stuff now. And I just remember being very quickly, like, done with Punch the Clock and the recording. I did not listen to it much. Not because of anything with the mixing or mastering or none of that. It was like all like personal growth. I'm like, I am so much better than this. This is like this. I'm like, this was such a like first draft or something. I was like, what? I'm like, this is a footnote. And I just dismissed it. It's 10 minutes of music. That's all that EP is 10 minutes of fast, like, punk energy, you know? Which is why everyone likes it, which is cool. And it's my voice, those are my melodies, my lyrics, and I love so much of it. I love all of it. I've grown to love all of it. I used to hate it, but in hindsight, I think I actually was just being really hard on myself because I knew I had better potential, or like more potential in me. So it was good, but I'm glad that like I feel comfortable at 34 going and playing those Punch the Clock songs and not feeling like I'm just doing some gimmick of like, oh, I used to be in this band and they're gonna do a reunion, I'm gonna play these old songs kind of thing. Like, it's like, no, I still feel like a true connection to those words. Like, all of them. And yeah, it's all linear to this, where I am right now. That's all, I don't know, that's all I can say about, I immediately go towards, like, the thought process of, like, well, why'd you keep the band going after, you know, one person left, and blah, 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 because that's just what's been being yelled at, basically, from my perspective. It's just been people doubting it, and me having to go up against them and prove them wrong, or whatever, in my mind. And I just remember saying to Joe, when we wanted to start working on the next step of the band, I think it was when I finally convinced them to join. Yeah, I just said to him, I mean, I'm already moving on from Punch the Clock here, but it's like I'd like to talk more about the recording of that, but it was kind of cut and dry, like that. And then we just toured off of it for like 2007 until like all 1,000 CDs were gone. And then it was on just blogs until 2012 when I repressed it on Monster Party Records. Yes. But, which is available, yeah, you can get it in monsterpartyrecords.com. There's the plug. That's how you do it. Speaking of plugs, I found my other clear one. Actually, Chloe, my cat, found it. So, that's nice of her. But yeah, moving on from Punch the Clock. Thank God. I would say, yeah, Joe and I wanted more of a textured, like, like the invasion sound. We wanted, like, Go It Alone's The Only Blood Between Us was an extremely influential record on me and on Joe during that time. I think just on the whole band, like Connor and Dan, and just we were all just so into that record, and Mark Palm's songwriting on it. That record had such a massive influence on energy and Invasions of the Mind in general. Like, if you listen to that record, Go It Alone, The Only Blood Between Us, listen to that record and read the lyrics if you're familiar with Invasions of the Mind, and tell me you don't see parallels. I directly pulled from certain things in that. Not, I try not to rip anything off, try not to bite anybody's thing. I respect Mark so much. I know him, like, personally, like, kind of. We bump into each other. Yeah, the last time was 10 years ago. But, like, we have bumped into each other in the past and recognized each other and just talked and stuff, but we're not, like, friends. But he has a great new band called Devotion. Well, they're not even new, but they have a new record, Headspace Astronaut. It's really good. Anyway, that band and that record was hugely influential on Invasions of the Mind and the way that sounded. And then, of course, Joe and I loved The Art of Drowning and Sing the Sorrow, and we loved major label stuff like, I don't know, we just loved the way big productions sounded, and like layered to a metronome, like big candy sweet productions. Back then, that's what we were like, kind of were, I guess, going for, I think. And I don't want to speak on like anyone else's behalf, but yeah, we started writing these like songs that were like, they had full chords. I remember that was a big deal because Punch the Clock was just power chords. And these new songs, they weren't invasion songs yet, they were just new songs. These new songs that Joe was writing, because Joe comes from a very musical background, they had full chords, like big, full bar chords. And I remember, introduced me to the concept of like, oh, it's not just, you don't just blast a distortion and just, I just was, or like, like, I didn't understand the concept of like distortion and moderation or like tone or anything really till Joe came into the band. I just had no clue. And he started writing all these complex, layered, like, soundscapes, basically. Like, they're amazing to me. I don't know. They weren't even riffs. They were just, like, textured, hardcore songs. It was crazy. He would send me instrumentals a lot of the time. And, yeah, like, a lot of songs he just wrote in his bedroom and recorded them on, like, some recording device. And he would email them to me or the band, and then it was just my job to write my parts over them. And that's how Invasions of the Mind was written. I was given a musical template of a completed song, and a lot of the time. And then I wrote my thing. I just weaved my thing across it with my lyrics and my singing. But the first song we wrote after Punch the Clock was Hail the Size of Grapes. And I remember when we were writing it, we were in somebody's apartment, and we were getting really excited because we could feel that it was going somewhere. We could feel that, like, this idea that we were discussing, like, oh, we should sound like this, we should sound like that. Well, Joe just pulled out his guitar, and all of a sudden this was real, and I was like, okay, we're working on this, and he's doing the full chords, and then he's doing the, like, all these, I still don't know what they're called. They're like really sad sounding things on the guitar, very, very upsetting chords, and I was just like, oh my god, this is so good. This is that exact emotion that I was trying to capture that I didn't know how to. And apparently all it takes is a little bit of musical knowledge. Because I just didn't know shit. I was so uneducated. I've never taken like real lessons or anything. Like, so I just try to learn from like bandmates and just everybody along the way. So thank you, Joe. You've taught me much. You taught me a lot. But yeah, we were writing those songs. No, we were writing "Hail the Size of Grapes" in Philly, I believe, and I don't think I had lyrics, but I was probably like messing around with melodies or something, and but I was helping like guide the song in the direction that it should go in and everything like that. It was I think it was mostly just Joe and I, and I can't remember where Connor was at exactly. He could have been like on the couch just next to us, silently playing along. I don't know. You might have been. I don't know. My memory is so bad. But I remember we were writing when we finally finished that song in the studio. That really. Well, I guess I'd have to talk about meeting Chris Curran. I met Chris when I was doing guest vocals for a friend's band, and I just like instantly clicked with Chris. I was like, Jesus Christ, this person is so easy to record with. Like, he's just so laid back. He gets me to sound amazing. I was just like, this is incredible. And I just really pushed the Chris Curran agenda on like everybody because they had a guy or something that they wanted to go to, and I was just like, no, we gotta try Chris. We gotta go with him. And I remember hearing those playbacks of Invasions. I remember hearing those playbacks of Hail the Size of Grapes. And when the harmonies all hit in that demo version, like you can hear it because it's the one on the Anthology Volume 1. The harmonies in the chorus, and then like when they just fade into the bridge, or whatever, that was like hearing myself sound like a real singer, or like oh my god, I could be famous or someday or something. Like it sounded absolutely crazy. My computer's going weird right now. What was interesting about the demos though is that we played a live set on WERS in Boston for like Radio Beat that I still have. I still have the files for that. I could release that if I wanted to. I'm not gonna, I don't think. But we were basically rehearsing them live on the air, like the two new songs that we were gonna record with Chris Curran, and we played them on the air, and I sounded like shit, and they sounded great, and we took the band into the studio, I think that night, or I think that was what happened. It was like the daytime, and then we went there at night, or it was the next day, or I don't know, it was like right after, it felt like. There's an interview where I say what happened somewhere, but anyway, so we did them live on the air for the first time, and that's how people heard them for the first time, and then we recorded them, and then we did a cover of Dag Nasty's Still Waiting, just because we were in there. It's like 2 songs, why not do a cover too? And we had been listening to that song and just thinking like, yeah, we could really do this song well, I think. And we just recorded it for fun. We didn't ever really play that cover all that much, actually. There's a video of us playing it in Florida. It's from like above and behind the band, so it's like I don't know, it's whatever, but I'd like to cover that song live, like, more someday, because it's a great song. Also, I heard that Dave Smalley complimented it, said that he liked it. Thank you, Dave, if that's true. Energy, Dag Nasty, yeah. It's on the Dag House website, or somebody made a Dag Nasty tribute, and it's on there, so that's cool. I don't know. Is it? Is that cool? I think it is. I gotta stop saying yeah. So we recorded those songs and then we went on tour. And no, well, we kind of did. Yeah, we toured. It was the Summer Sampler. That's what we called it. And we just went on tour in the whole summer of 2007. And yeah, we wrote like the first parts of Invasions of the Mind started being written in early 2007, like spring or something like that. Even maybe like winter. I don't even know like how early the tours in 2007 Joe started coming on, because that's when he started writing. The touring, like Energy tour stories, will have to be like a series with Connor, because Jesus Christ, am I bad at that part. I can't remember anything, and I was straight edge the whole time. Like, I just have a bad memory. But we did Hunter Red as well, and that one, yeah, all the layers at the end of the last chorus, I really felt like we were channeling something special when we did those harmonies and those like layered vocals, and just the concept of the lyrics that I had. Like, it just felt so surreal hearing it. And then if you listen in headphones during the chorus, it seriously just sounds like witches whispering or something. I think we've all talked about it, about how it's like this unidentifiable like sound that we don't really remember putting in there. Obviously, it's just some sounds that we put in there that combined with another sound sounds weird or whatever, but there's just some like whispering or something that it sounds like in that. I don't know why I keep looking out my window. But yeah, I really liked that little demo. That was cool. I wish that we could have recorded the rest of Invasions that way, but that's just not how things panned out. But yeah, I remember touring a lot off of that and just burning CDRs, like at the shows with laptops, just burning them and just putting them out and just being like, yeah, just trying to like Johnny Appleseed the whole country with these like demos and just be like, listen to us. Just so we went on many like independently, like I don't know, independent tours, and like from self-recorded things and even from the early days. So it's not like the band was like just like boom shot out of the, like right from the start. We just had like funding and this and that. It wasn't exactly like that at all. We got into a lot of debt actually on the first like few tours because of just bad scheduling and just miscommunication, and yeah, we just were we were like paying. We weren't asking for like set guarantees, and then we'd have to keep taking from our merch money to pay for gas, and then we wouldn't have enough money for the merch guys back home, and then we'd be in like thousands of dollars of debt to them, and it just kept, I don't know, it just kept getting worse. But I don't know, somehow we figured that out eventually. But that was a nightmare. Oh my god. I'm just thinking of some of the instances where like we weren't, I don't know if I should tell this story, but now that I said that, I have to. This time in some state where Connor was like, it turned out it was one of those things where you show up and it's just like, what band are you here to see? And then everyone at the door has to check it off, and whoever writes, you know, next to energy, that's like how much it depends on the band getting paid. And like none of us had any idea that this was like the setup for the show or anything like that. And I remember Connor just grabbed the guy's record books who was running the place, and he just went into his office and locked the door and just went through everything and said, "You made this much money doing this show. Give us this much." Or I forget exactly how it went down, but I just remember that Connor scared the shit out of them so bad that the bands felt so bad for the guy that they just all chipped together to pay us money, which was kind of like nice. I mean, that was really nice of them to do. I guess in hindsight, it was just kind of like we were fucked, and someone internally miscommunicated something, and we were just fucked. And we were in, I think, Texas. Yeah, that's what state it was. It was Texas. And yeah, I just remember being like, their attitude was just like, there's no fucking way we just drove that far and are gonna have to drive this far with no money. And it's not like there's no way I'm not gonna do that. It was like, there's no way we'll run out of gas and die or something. Like it was always like that. It was just like, and then people would just be like, yo, that's you're a real dickhead. That sounds like a real asshole thing to have done. It's just like, I don't know what else you're supposed to do. But anyway. That was a bizarre story on like that. I feel like it was like that tour because that might have been before the demos. I can't remember that. I can't remember those kind of details. But we toured a lot, and then I remember when we came back from tour, that's when we caught the attention of Carl at Bridge 9. At Bridge 9 Records. Again, the guys at Rock Vegas had got us on a show with Comeback Kid. I know it's on my wall, I think. Yeah, there it is, I believe. Ambitions, This Is Hell, Comeback Kid. Yeah. And, yeah, so there were a lot of bands playing, and Ambitions was playing, and they were a Bridge 9 band, so they were like a new Bridge 9 band. And I remember some guy came up to me after the show, and he was like, he just talked to me for a while about the band, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, I didn't really piece anything together. Like, I didn't know who he was, really. And then things started to come together, I think, in my mind. Because I talked to him for a bit after the show, and he seemed like just really into the band and interested in like what was going on with us. Like, you know, like how like they're like a label person probably would be who's interested in someone. And I was just like completely unaware of that. I just thought it was some guy talking to me. And then later through some emails, I realized, oh, that guy I was talking to, he was an employee for Bridge 9 Records. Oh, okay. I hope I said everything okay. Like, I had no idea I was even talking to a person, so that's advice right there. You never know who you're talking to. Because that happened, and luckily I didn't fuck it up too bad. I wasn't in a miserable mood, and I didn't say, like, I don't want to talk, and then walked away. That just would have been a completely different trajectory, and I wouldn't even be here talking to you, probably, because of some butterfly effect thing. But, anyway, I remember he liked Punch the Clock and stuff, and, he said, I want to hear what you're up to now, and I sent him the demos, and he was really impressed with those. And then we basically just started talking. I can't even remember. It was just like, oh man, I wish I could remember this part. I don't remember. I feel like we were just discussing like what he just was like, I think he was just like, let's write some songs and make an album. I believe. But I remember there was like a long, long time where we couldn't announce that we were signed to Bridge 9. And that was like, for me, I was like 22 or I don't even know, whatever. Yeah, 22 or something when I signed. And I was just like, first of all, that right there just reminded me of the thing where I like willed that to happen. Like, here I am now. I just told you that story. I'll probably just end it here actually because I'm running out of steam. I don't know how that happened. I was approached by Carl. He came up to me. I know that I was doing all the necessary things to get signed by Bridge 9, but I had no idea who I was talking to. I didn't ask this person to come. I didn't say to anybody. I told my mom when I was 19 that I'm gonna be, or 18, I'm gonna be signed to Bridge 9 Records by the time I'm 23. I didn't say that to anybody. I just told that to my mom because I was just sure of it, and like, that wasn't like a thing I went around proclaiming. It was kind of just, I defensively said that because I just knew it. And then it happened. It like actually happened. That exact thing, the exact label, I said by the time I was 23, I might have been 23 while doing it, or late 22. But by the time I was 23, like I said to her, I was signed to Bridge 9 Records. And yeah, I'm just gonna end it there because I just still can't believe that even happened. That makes me believe that I can will things, anyone can. You can just will things into happening if you are like grounded in reality. I don't know, at the same time, like, you have to be this like big dreamer with like your both feet just firmly planted in the ground though, like, but your head in the clouds. I don't even know what to say about that, like, or what I mean by that, but that's what I did. I was just like, this band Mental, they're on Bridge 9, I can be on Bridge 9. And then I was on Bridge 9 like 5 years later. It was insane. Not that they're like it's not like I signed with like Sony or something. Although I think we're like doing like a Sony distribution deal or something like that. I can't remember. So maybe I did sign with Sony to some extent. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know things. But I was just like floored. I had a record contract. Like, I think it was like an 11-page like record contract, and that I had to have like other people like look over for me and stuff, and I didn't give a fuck. I was gonna say yes to anything. Like, I remember just being like, yep, okay, I'm gonna say yes, like, to everything. So just, if the people around me want to protect me and make sure I don't get fucked, they'd better. I was just so like stupid or naive, I guess, just naive. Not that like I have any regrets about like anything, just whatever. We'll get into that in another video. But yeah, I was gonna sign it no matter what. I just was like, I want someone to pay me to go into the studio. That's fucking it. That is it. That's still what I want, honestly. Just for someone to pay for me to go into the studio. And after a few revisions and blah blah blah, we signed it. And I remember we couldn't announce it for like fucking 6 months at least, and because we needed to like finish writing it, finish demoing it, and then really record it while we were touring. And it was just a lot of confusing whatever. We went through going to drummer after drummer after drummer, which is just this Spinal Tap like insane thing with energy. I don't know why. Please stay, Randy. Please stay in the band. For the love of fucking God. Anyway. But, I love you. Don't leave. I am so sad and pathetic. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. I can't say you can't say negative things about yourself. They're like, you need positive reaffirmations or what is it? I don't even fucking know. Everybody tells me not to say things like that about myself, so I'm not going to anymore. I'm gonna try not to. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap up the video here because I'm rambling now, talking quite hard, and I don't know. Until next time. Talk hard.